Hi guys, it's Michelle and today is Saturday and it's September 29th and it's 9:49 p.m. Eastern Time. As I promised, I am back with a Q-related news video, and I have gathered some things that I think that you will want to know and that probably need to be talked about. They're certainly not being discussed in the mainstream media, and of course we know why. But let me get started here because there is quite a bit to go through, and I have separated out the stuff that is not really related. I may have to start doing a Q-related news and a separate news because some of this is Q-related, some of it isn't really, but it's still stuff that I think that you'd want to be aware of. So not quite sure how to do that, but we'll figure it out going forward. Anyway, this is Q-related news, and let's get started. Now, the first one is this, because yesterday we discussed the doxing of the GOP senators, and it does point, as many of you said in the comments below, it does point to Maxine Waters' office. Well, there's a surprise. Now, I really don't think that any of us would be at all surprised with that, considering that she did call for harassment of conservatives. So, the IP address of person who doxed GOP senators points to Maxine Waters' office. Maxine Waters denies the charge. Well, naturally she would. You don't think that she would actually be honest, and, didn't think so. Many Republicans on the Senate Judiciary had their home addresses and phone numbers published on their Wikipedia pages Thursday, shortly after Lindsey Graham went off on Senate Democrats for destroying Kavanaugh's life in order to derail his confirmation. Republicans were doxxed. The victims included Republican senators like Mike Lee, Orrin Hatch of Utah, and Lindsey Graham, reported the Washington Times. Now, I think everyone knows what dox means, but just in case, when you dox someone, you give out their personal information, perhaps their email address, their home address, their home phone number, their cell phone number, what have you. It's giving out public information and without permission, basically. And usually it's done to people that would not want that information made public. So, we went through that. According to Caleb Hull, editor of the Independent Journal Review, the wife of Mr. Hatch has been receiving nonstop on her birthday, and their home address has been receiving calls nonstop on her birthday, and their home address was made public. Congress edits a bot account that for 4 years automatically retweets edits to Wikipedia made anonymously from IP addresses associated with the U.S. Congress, said the information was also posted on Mr. Lee and Mr. Graham from the U.S. House of Representatives. The article auto-posted screenshots supporting the edits being made and noting the inclusion of private information, a practice known as doxing. It gets worse. The private information on the Republican senators is coming from a computer from the House of Representatives. The plot thickens. Now this, the IP address leads back to a congressional office. So, here they are looking. The IP address and is registered to the U.S. House of Representatives. And may be shared by multiple users of a government agency or facility, so you might receive messages on this page that were not intended for you. And so down here it says, Internet sleuth Mike Tokes says the IP address points to Congress. Breaking Republican senators Lindsey Graham, Orrin Hatch, and Mike Lee were targeted and doxxed with their home office addresses and home cell phones being published online on Wikipedia through an anonymous IP address associated with the House of Representatives. And update, Wikipedia has reverted the pages of the Republican senators. Well, it's a little late now because anybody can go back through using the Wayback Machine and find it. And the previous edits publishing their personal information appear to be removed from the public archive. Believe me, if people want it, they can get it. So thanks, Auntie Maxine. The two Vandal IPs belonging to the U.S. House of Representatives have engaged in doxing and vandalism previously. Oh, well, I guess if Maxine is not mature enough to use a computer, then it should be taken away from her. Like any child. National security expert David Reboy says the IP address point to Maxine Waters. Well, naturally, who else? I'm hearing these IPs are traceable to a staffer in Maxine Waters' office. No, I don't believe actually Maxine Waters would do it because I don't know if she knows how to do it. But I can believe that somebody in her office did it with her knowledge and with her permission. So, like I said before, if she's not mature enough to handle a computer, then it should be taken away from her like you would with any child. Breaking, Republican Senators Lindsey Graham, Orrin Hatch, and Mike Lee were targeted and doxxed with their home office addresses, cell phones being published online. And this is just going over the same stuff, so I don't know why. They put that in there twice, but it is. And I read it twice, so sue me. Anyway, the IP address of the villain who doxed the Republican senators is 143-231-249-130. So there you go. There's the IP address of Auntie Maxine there. Yeah. So the four plebs user then appear to agree that the IP address came from Waters' office, but may not be from Sangstock, whatever that is. Maxine Waters on Saturday denied the charges. Well, naturally, she would never admit to it. Anyway, isn't that interesting? Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Maxine. I bet you your fellow senators are really happy with you right now, I'm sure. Anyway, let's go on. Now, I like this. This is from Sarah A. Carter from Twitter. Don't know why she's still on Twitter. I guess, they haven't been paying close attention, but I'm glad that she's still there. So this is the Dems' next move. I wonder if that was what the FBI inquiry stall tactic was about. How strange Dr. Ford never has pushed for an investigation with Montgomery County Police before all this came to light. And the Baltimore Sun, Montgomery County's chief of police and the county state's attorney say they are prepared to investigate Brett Kavanaugh allegations if an alleged victim comes forward. Well, that's odd because it has outlived the statute of limitations on a misdemeanor, which it would have been because no rape took place. They were fully clothed. No skin came in contact with skin. If, and that is a big if it ever happened in the first place, which I highly doubt, because her behavior and everything about her and her background screams this is a lie. So let's go on here. And why isn't anyone talking about how she slipped and said that Feinstein would hold her letter until right before the hearing? And she did say that. She tried to catch her on it, but she didn't push it. That's huge. Now, this is the person that's asking the questions here. And this, of course, is Ms. Blasey Ford. Now, let's listen here and listen to her say that, because that's exactly what she says. She says that Feinstein would hold her letter until right before the hearing. Well, that's odd, isn't it? Now, let's listen. Oops.
Let me see. Let me see.
And notice her little voice, like it's a very like a little girl. That's not a natural voice that one talks in. That's like the voice of a little girl that's timid and shy. That is not the voice of a professor. That is not the voice of a professional woman. And this happened 35 years ago. There was no skin contact. His penis did not come in contact with her at all. They were both fully clothed, fully clothed, and, as she said, drunk. So if they were even at the same party, which I highly doubt. He was a year ahead of her, and they did not have friends in common. So it just doesn't even make sense. But this, listen to her, how traumatic she's trying to make this appear. Like, give me a break.
I sent her a letter on July 30th, and I don't have the date. I'd have to pull up my email to find out the date of her email to me saying that it was right before the hearings, that she was going to maintain the confidentiality of the letter.
So, did you get that? It was right before the hearing that she was going to maintain the confidentiality of the letter. She said, I'd have to pull up my email to have the date that of the letter that Feinstein sent to her, but that the letter told her that she would maintain the confidentiality of the letter that Ford wrote to Feinstein until right before the hearing. Oh, really? You know, that's really huge.
Say that again. It was till right before the hearings.
That's my memory, but I can look it up for you if you would like the exact date. I could pull it up on my email.
Oh, yeah. I want to make sure.
Counsel.
I want to make sure I understood what you said.
That document's been turned over to...
See, she questions it, and she's trying to get at it, but the way Dr. Ford responds to the questions throws people off, and I noticed that about her. She would talk around the question, but never really answer the question. Or she'd say, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, then how the heck did you get a PhD? Honestly. Like, if you can't follow simple instructions and answer a simple question, then I don't know. You must have bought yours, because I don't know. I mean, I don't have a PhD. I have a master's, but you know what? I don't know. I don't think I could have got it if I didn't understand simple English. Anyway, that's that. Let's go back. Now, let's go to the next. Because this, yeah, you're going to find this interesting. If you haven't seen this already, pretty darn sure you're going to find it interesting. Daughter of CIA assassin paymaster tries to bring down Trump Supreme Court nominee Kavanaugh. Now, forgive me for this little, I don't have any control over what they do on their own website, certainly. And, that's a little rude. But anyway, the information is worth seeing, and I think we need to see it. So, daughter of CIA assassin paymaster tries to bring down Trump Supreme Court nominee Kavanaugh. And an intriguing, in-depth new Foreign Intelligence Service report circulating in the Kremlin today states that a Stanford University psychiatry professor named Dr. Christine Blasey has become the latest centerpiece of a Central Intelligence Agency plot to harm President Trump, with her last-minute allegation just days prior to the U.S. Senate confirmation that Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh had attempted to sexually assault her over 30 years ago when they were teenage school children while being kept from the American people. About Dr. Blasey is that she currently oversees the CIA undergraduate internship program at Stanford University, developed by the notorious CIA-connected Stanford University psychiatric professor Dr. Frederick T. Malgus, who himself, in 1985, took into his care the homeless woman Lois Lang, who assassinated CIA paymaster Nick Deek, and afterwards saw the CIA's black operations money being controlled by Ralph G. Blasey Jr., who, not so mysteriously, just happens to be the father of Dr. Christine Blasey. Note, some words and or phrases appearing in quotes in this report are English language approximations of Russian words, phrases having no exact counterpart. Okay, well, warning is your your note is duly noted. All right. According to this report, with Trump being warned just prior to his assuming the presidency by the powerful Democratic Party U.S. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer that U.S. intelligence services have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you, this past nearly 2 years has shown just how prescient this warning was, and whose latest strike back against Trump is coming courtesy of a rogue CIA faction who has just trotted out for public display Dr. Christine Blasey, married name Christine Blasey Ford, who claims that as a young high school teenager, Brett Kavanaugh, also a high school teenager, tried to sexually assault her, but whose evidence for this being true shows Dr. Blasey unable to name the exact year it happened, her not remembering where the incident took place or how she got home, her not being able to remember key details of the incident, her not remembering how the gathering came together the night of the incident, and her not telling anyone else at the time, but should be expected to be the case from an unproven salacious allegation of this sort, as it comes from a woman supporting the Democratic Party and who also hates President Trump. Well, no surprise there. This is a younger picture of her and very pixelated. And let's go on. Christine Blasey above in 1983 high school yearbook photo as the deep state aligned U.S. mainstream propaganda media began flooding the airwaves, newspapers, and the internet with Dr. Blasey's claims against Judge Kavanaugh that have absolutely no proof or evidence behind anyone behind anyone. This is not well written. That's why I'm tripping, because it's just not the best written article I've ever read, that's for sure. Claims against Judge Kavanaugh that have absolutely no proof or evidence behind anyone could ever investigate. This report continues. SVR intelligence analysts were immediately able to bring up her file in the archive of known and or suspected CIA operatives, and whose placement in this file was due to her extensive and advanced educational training at Stanford University in the CIA-funded mind control brainwashing techniques developed by Stanford University psychiatric professor Dr. Frederick T. Malgus, whose primary mission for the CIA was to develop new technologies for interrogation and torture. Secondary applications going forward, studying the possibilities of exploiting highly suggestible subjects and getting them to do things, murders, careers they would not otherwise do, and of which they would have no memory in case they were caught. So that is who she worked for, and that is what she's been involved in, and her family has ties to the CIA as well. So should we be surprised? I don't think so. And I don't think any of us are surprised by this information. CIA research notes of Stanford University psychiatric professor Dr. Frederick T. Malgus, and that is above there, linked to Dr. Blasey's SVR file of known and or suspected CIA operatives. This report notes is that of her father, Ralph G. Blasey Jr., a proven CIA operative who, from June 1962 to January 1974, was the vice president of National Savings and Trust of Washington, D.C. Now, get this, okay? I know, you're saying, well, so what? He was the vice president of National Savings and Trust of Washington, D.C., but a CIA black budget bank, best known for being 100 paces from the White House, and whom in 1998 was taken over by SunTrust Bank, whose majority share owner is the CIA-linked investment fund BlackRock. So this isn't just a bank that you or I would go to. No, this was a bank that handled the black budget of the CIA. Oh, well, that's different, isn't it? And they were taken over by SunTrust Bank, and the majority shareholder is still the CIA-linked investment fund BlackRock. Yeah. Oh, I believe Dr. Ford. Oh, yes, I believe her. No, I don't. The importance of noting the CIA banking connections of Ralph G. Blasey Jr., this report explains, is due to the outbreak of what is known as the CIA Bank War, and whose start of in 1982, a CIA seized from publication news report, declassified in part sanitized copy approved for release 2012, describes as this is Wall Street, the center of the international banking system, a system on the edge of a crisis so severe that the Central Intelligence Agency is preparing drastic measures. Something must be done to avert the breakdown of the free world's monetary system. So I know that this is a little bit hard to follow because it's been taken from Russian and it hasn't been, some of the sentences are a little bit awkward, but I think we all get the gist of it. The main CIA operative involved in this war and whom Ralph G. Blasey Jr. reported to, this report details, was Nicholas Deak, a longtime OSS and CIA operative both during and after World War II, who ran the CIA's main black budget operations under the direct command of the feared CIA counterintelligence chief James Jesus Angleton. So let's see what else is connecting her. Very interesting. To how the CIA prevented the total breakdown of the Western banking system in 1982, this report says was by their illegally laundering hundreds of millions of dollars of Colombian drug cartel cash into it to keep it afloat. In an operation overseas by the CIA, James Bond of money, Nicholas Deak, but when the President Ronald Reagan administration found out what the CIA had done and started investigating it, saw Deak on the 19th of November 1985 being assassinated in the New York City office by a homeless woman named Lois Lang. Oh, how interesting. Who had mysteriously managed to travel thousands of miles across the United States from Seattle to conduct this killing in what news reports at the time described as, and here is the description below, Lang saw him and turned the corner with purpose, aiming the pistol with both arms. When she had Deak in her sights, she froze, transfixed. It was as if she'd finally found what she was looking for, a witness later testified. Deak seized the pause to lunge and grabs Lang's throat with both hands, pressing his body into hers. She fired once next to Deak's ear and missed wide before pushing him away just enough to bring the gun into his body and land a shot above his heart. The bullet ricocheted off his collarbone and shredded his organs. Deak crumpled onto the floor. "Now you've got yours," said Lang. A witness later claimed she took out a camera and snapped photographs of her victim's expiring body. The bag lady then grabbed the banker by the legs, dragged him into the office, and shut the door. Yeah, that doesn't sound like the actions of a homeless bag lady, does it? Why on earth would a homeless bag lady have something against someone of that stature? Don't know, but could have something to do with her contact with the doctor from Stanford University that is into MK Ultra, and of course it does. So that ends that mystery, and let's go on here. Though the American people were correctly told that Nicholas Deak assassin Lois Lang had previously been under psychiatric care, this report continues that what was failed to be reported to them was that Lang had been under the direct care and medical supervision of the CIA's own Stanford University psychiatric professor, Dr. Frederick T. Malgaz, I guess that's how you pronounce his name. If not, then please correct me, just prior to her traveling from Seattle to New York City to carry out this assassination, and who was the exact type of assassin Dr. Malgaz had been working to create in his CIA-funded mind. And who was the exact type of assassin Dr. Malgaz had been working to create in his CIA-funded mind control MK Ultra program, and whose Canadian victims are still being silenced after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau this past December imposed a gag order on them to keep them silent. Now that, I know, is true because there were a whole lot of victims up in Canada. I actually happen to know one. And no, it wasn't me, but I do know of a victim. And yeah, there's a lot that went on in Canada. Okay, but that does not apply to Judge Kavanaugh accuser Dr. Christine Blasey, who remains able to teach her CIA undergraduate internship program at Stanford University, the MK Ultra mind control techniques discovered by Dr. Malgus. So she is carrying on his work. Yes, she is. Yes, her little halting, mousy personality, like, oh, everybody feel bad for me. I'm just a little girl. I don't know what's going on. I'm here in this big hearing and I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Like his daughter, Dr. Christine Blasey, this report concludes CIA black money operatives Ralph G. Blasey Jr. remains secure too, and who today is the Vice President of Business Development of Redcoats. That's very appropriately named, isn't it? Of Redcoats Inc., whose admiral security services provide arms services for deep state elites in Washington, D.C. So, that is overseen by Redcoats Inc., co-founder and vice chairman William F. Peel III, and whose data watch systems Peel III also controls, has U.S. government contracts extending till the 23rd of June 2023 under the category of 246.42.1 to provide U.S. defense and intelligence agencies with facility management systems to include accessories and repair parts, computerized systems for surveillance, monitoring, controlling, signaling, and reporting multiple functions, all of which SVR intelligence analysts believe the American people have the right to know about in their evaluating the claims against Judge Kavanaugh being leveled against him by Dr. Christine Blasey, but who knows if it will ever happen. Well, let's hope that it does. September 17th, EU and US, all rights reserved, permission to use this report in its entirety is granted under the condition. It is linked back to its original source at whatdoesitmean.com. So there you go. That's where it came from. And let's go on. There's lots more to get to here. I'm going to try and go through it as fast as I can, but I think you need to know this. I think we all need to know this. And I think we need to tell others. Alrighty. Now, woman who confronted Flake in elevator runs Soros-funded organization. Oh, well, that's a big surprise. Wow. I could never have guessed that. Anna Marie Archila, one of the women who confronted Jeff Flake on the elevator at the Capitol after he said he was voting for Brett Kavanaugh, is the co-executive director for the Center for Popular Democracy and the Center for Popular Democracy Action Fund. The Center for Popular Democracy is heavily funded by George Soros. The organization also identified Maria Gallagher to the press as the other woman confronting Flake. Here is Anna Maria Archila on the Center for Popular Democracy website. Yeah. So there you go. The Free Beacon previously reported George Soros is one of the largest funders to the CPD. Soros provided the CPD with $130,000 from the foundation to promote Open Society in 2014 and $1,164,500 in 2015. Soros provided an additional $705,000 for the Open Society Policy Center in 2016. Here are the three biggest funders of the CPD. According to a 2014 document, the Open Society Foundation ranks third, and here are the CPD's three biggest funders are WIS Foundation, Ford Foundation, Open Society Foundation. So there you go. That's who she is, and that's what she does, and that's who she's connected with. So should we be surprised? Again, I say no. All right, and let's look at this. Tucker Carlson. Now, I had to laugh at this. This is what he's saying. I'm not going to play it, but this is what he says. Tucker Carlson. Perhaps another reptilian porn lawyer will come forward with another discredited client who describes fantasies of, I don't know, gang rape or human sacrifice or child trafficking. Maybe it will be ritual satanic abuse this time. So making fun, of course, of, Avenatti, the porn guy. Yeah, he deserved that. All right. And here's something from Twitter from Paul Speary. Breaking: Christine and Russell Ford's home in Palo Alto has an assessed value of $1.8 million and a current market value of $3.3 million. Yet she is raising hundreds of thousands of dollars from crowdfunding and paying nothing out of pocket to her pro bono Democrat activist lawyers. That's what I was wondering about too, because apparently she's raised around $1 million. $1 million. That's a lot of money to you and me. And she's raised this money apparently for whatever for her legal defense. But wait a minute, both her lawyers said at the hearing, we're doing this pro bono. So where's that money going? And then they asked her about that, and she goes, "Well, I don't really know. I don't know who set it up. I don't know how to get at it. I don't know what the money's for. I don't know. I'm just a little girl. I'm scared. Please." Just craziness. Now, we listened to this on the last video, of course, that Q had posted, and forgive the language. I don't support this language, but I did want you to see this. It says, guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of sexual assault actions? It's the men in this country. I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up. Do the right thing for a change. Can you believe that? When did the men in this country become the enemy? Because that's what the women are making them out to be. The liberal women are making men out to be our enemies. When did this happen? I don't understand it, but I do like James Woods retort to her. There are hallowed American cemeteries around the globe filled with men who did the right thing, you sexist witch. Go F yourself. Now, I don't, the last sentence I would have left off, but hey, he's right. How many men have fought and died for the freedom of these women who are now bashing them? I don't get it. And I know there are women that do the same thing. I know that there are women in combat roles now, and that is fine. But, for the last two major wars, it was, yes, women were in support roles, but it was the men primarily who were, and not entirely. I understand that nurses died. I understand that, all sorts of people died. But really, it is an insult to the memory of the men that laid their life down to protect the country. Unbelievable. Anyway, now let's look at this. Or maybe not. Come on. The hamsters are getting, come on, here it comes. Of course, it could be because I have 500,000 tabs open, which is a terrible habit of mine. Okay, now I am going to play this, and it's about a minute long, maybe 2 minutes long, but it's worth it. It's 1 minute, so here we go.
Dr. Ford happens to head up the CIA undergraduate internship program at Stanford University, which is very odd unto itself. How did she get the job? Well, listen carefully. Christine's brother, Ralph III, used to work for the international law firm of Baker Hostetler, the firm that created Fusion GPS, which is the company which wrote the Russian dossier. Baker Hostetler is located in the same building where the CIA operates 3 companies called Redcoats Inc., Admiral Security Services, and Data Watch. Who runs them? They are operated by Ralph Blasey II. He happens to be the father of Dr. Ford and Ralph III. But it gets even deeper. Christine and Ralph III's grandfather was Nicholas Deak. Former CIA Director William Casey acknowledged Deak's decades of service to the CIA.
Interesting. So there you have it from another source. And let's go back. I was sneezing during that, and I bet you didn't even hear me. I have the quietest sneeze of anyone on earth. All right. Here we go. Here's the next. Here's DC McAllister says Christine Blasey Ford was a classmate of mine at UNC, and I would assume that UNC is University of North Carolina, unless there's another UNC that I'm not aware of. We graduated in 1988. I want to ask Christine if she remembers partying at Trolls, drinking at He's Not Here, hooking up with guys at Henderson Street, eating at Time Out. Remember those days, Christine? Tell us about them. So, this woman claims to have been a classmate of Christine's while she went to the University of North Carolina. So why haven't they been in contact with her? Why haven't they been interviewing her? I don't know. Does she have valid information? I don't know. But I wish somebody would check it out. All right. Now, let's look at this. Let's look at it slowly. I love this. I'm sorry. I had to. Now, I'm going to play this for you because it's funny. This person is a Star Wars voice actor, Rachel Butera, and she's mocking Dr. Ford, and she does it extremely well. So, hang on here.
To even me, if anybody is listening to the Dr. Blasey Ford testimony about Brett Kavanaugh, but this is how I sound. I know it's a surprise to even me that I talk this way, and I'm a doctor and a grown woman. I sound like I'm still back at that high school party. I can't help it. I just have this kind of a voice, like a baby, even though I'm a doctor and I'm on this media circus, political stage, and I have kids myself that I don't know why I speak with vocal fry. But you can listen to my testimony and hear that a grown woman sounds this way. Dr. Blasey Ford, thank you.
She does it exactly like her. I mean, come on, that's good stuff. I don't care who you are. I think that's good. She did a very good impression, and I don't for a minute believe that's her real voice of Blasey Ford. Okay, and this, interestingly enough, Blasey Ford connections, Soros, Stanford University CIA internship program, Fusion GPS, Baker Hostetler law firm, and Christine Blasey Ford's brother Thomas Blasey worked with Jill Strzok, who is married to the infamous Peter Strzok. Yeah, there's a whole lot of connections there when you get right to it. And it says Blasey Ford's masters are at the very top of the deep state food chain. Brett Kavanaugh, Christine Blasey Ford, and the links to George Soros. Look at what's going on with Judge Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation proceedings for the Supreme Court and the fingerprints of George Soros. Oh, they're all over it. His grimy, greasy little fingerprints. Absolutely. And here is, this was good actually. If you can go out and search on YouTube for the video of Dr. Christine Blasey Ford's body language. Oh, it'll tell you a lot. It'll tell you a lot if it's not already clear to you just watching her, because it's pretty obvious, to me anyway. And the other thing is, I don't think she wears glasses. I really don't. I don't think she wears glasses. For why she's wearing glasses there, I don't know, but I think they're a prop for her. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. 4 cents maybe with inflation. I don't know. Okay, let's go back. Trying not to belabor this, trying to move through it quickly. All right. I also found this allegation. Now, I found this on Twitter, so I cannot determine. I'm bringing it to you. I can't, I can't verify its veracity, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I found this allegation about the holier-than-thou Christine Blasey Ford. It's from Nixon Lodge, whoever that is. Christine Blasey Ford admitted she was an alcoholic back then and regretted being so easy. She told her best friend she had 64 sexual partners between 11th grade through college. That's a lot. She is also a liberal activist who wrote on her Facebook, in 16, Scalia types must be banned from law. Oh. So that would be Brett Kavanaugh types, because he's a lot like Scalia types. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So she thinks that they should have been banned from law. I guess if she has to make up sexual allegations against them, then that's as good a way as any, right? So I find it hard to believe that having contact with a man that you are both fully clothed is so traumatic that you were able to go out and have sex with 64 different partners. Now, of course, some of those partners were probably long-term, some of them were probably short-term, but 64 different ones. Wow! I was right. She has been rode hard and hung up wet. Seriously, that's a lot of partners. Really. I mean, that's not even close to being healthy. Anyway, now look at this. Notice, and look at all these people, advising her and, just kowtowing to her. And then notice this. The difference? Why does she need all of these people to advise her what to say? But the accused, nope, just him. Just him. I don't know. I can't answer that. All right. Now, the FBI contacts second Kavanaugh accuser as part of newly authorized investigation. That was on Fox News today. We're not going to go through all that, but just so you know what's going on. And Trump says extra scrutiny may be a blessing in disguise. And that is what I think that Trump is thinking about all this. I really do. Now, I'm not going to get into the second one, because it's all a bunch of caca. All right. Now, this isn't really related, but I want to read it anyway because, well, it's my video. And I'll read it if I want to. So stop. Stop telling me not to. All right. It says, Senator Richard Blumenthal must talk about his fraudulent service in Vietnam, where for 12 years he told the people of Connecticut, as their attorney general, that he was a great Marine war hero, talked about his many battles of near death, but was never in Vietnam. Total phony. Donald Trump grows on me more and more and more every day. Every day. I'm just saying. He just tells it like it is. And that's what they don't seem to realize, is that when they're throwing all this dirt at Kavanaugh, all this dirt's going to come back on them. It really is. I'm telling you, I don't know how it's going to happen, but it is. It's going to backfire. because I'm telling you, Trump is so many steps ahead of these guys. He is, and I'm convinced of it. And I'm convinced that he knew about this beforehand and knew how they would behave. So, that is it for Q-related news for tonight, anyway. And I'll leave it there. It's now 10:34 p.m. Eastern Time. And I think that will be it for tonight, unless there are more Q posts. But I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I hope that you sleep well, that you stay well, and that you stay safe. And I will hopefully talk to you soon. Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate it. If you wish to be subscribed, then please do subscribe, and make sure, if you are subscribed, that you stay subscribed, because they do drop my subscribers every now and then. They will just drop a bunch of them for no reason at all. And anyway, just want you to be aware of that, and hit the bell notification if you wish to be notified. Talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.